voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
Shining down from above.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Wednesday, the 15th day of May 2019. I trust that everyone had an enjoyable, peaceful, restful evening and that you're all raring to go today. Those of you who are on the roads, as usual, we urge you, if you are a pedestrian, if you are a bicyclist, a motorcyclist, operating any other type of vehicle on the road, we urge you to be careful, observe the rules of the road, be courteous, and always remember that the life that you save may just be your own. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. For the Record, as you know, is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During those hours, our phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. 9 times out of 10, you know what I'm going to say. It is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8067. Sorry, you can call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, you can email us at For the Record. That is one word, For the Record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261, where you can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, you can follow us live simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Today, we will have in the studio, after 8 o'clock news, we will have representatives from the various public safety departments or organizations here in the Cayman Islands, and we will be talking about the public safety recruitment fair that will take place tomorrow, Thursday, the 16th of May, and we will talk more about that as well. Those of you who are interested in knowing about the fair, want to maybe know more about the various departments that are involved in public safety and how you can be involved with them, either by joining them or in other facets as well, you will have the ability to call in and converse with representatives from the public safety units. That will take place after the news at 8 o'clock this morning. Meanwhile, we will have our open mic segment where you will have the ability to call in and to talk and to discuss all of those things that you want to talk about. What I will focus on during the course of the show as well is, again, the UK, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office's response to the Foreign Affairs Committee of the UK Parliament in relation to its Global Britain and its overseas territories and specific responses to issues that are very prominent in the discussions here in the Cayman Islands and that are certainly of concern to us here in the Cayman Islands as well. Before I go to the phone lines, have a birthday that we want to announce, and that's Miss Dana Cole celebrating a birthday today, and that happy birthday greetings are coming from your younger sister, Miss Phyllis Jensen, and she wants you to have an enjoyable birthday today, and that is Miss Dana Coles coming from Miss Phyllis Jensen. Some of you may know her as Miss Phyllis Moxham as well. I think we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Lucy, and how are you today?
Good morning. I am fine, and how are you?
I'm absolutely wonderful. I give God thanks, and another beautiful day. When I look to my window to the east, the sun is coming up, and it's encouragement to do good things today.
Excellent. That's a good way to start the day off. Very positive attitude.
Yeah, man. I something that I saw in the paper, I think on Tuesday's paper, where they're selling the atmosphere now, with the castles in the sky, and it says that owning a little piece of the rock has long been part of the Cayman dream. Now, for the first time, homeowners can buy a slice of the sky.
Yes, something to do with air rights or your ability to do it. And I think what the classic example for it that was used in that article had to do with the tunnel that was and the bridge that was built by DART, and now their ability based on this new concept, well, maybe not a new concept, but new concept to the Cayman Islands, and new regulations that will come into place or legislation that will come into place that will now allow them to build over government, public-owned property, which is the road, is a public road, but it will now allow them to build over that road.
Yeah, I know that, but to talk about owning a piece of the sky, I mean, how stupid does that sound? It's like when I lived in New York for 20, or in States for 28 years. I designed buildings all over. Nowhere in the States they got any rule that you own the sky or you own any kind of. If you want to give you a limit that you can go, the heights you can achieve when you're building, that's all they got to do. Talking about owning a piece of the sky. They're telling people now that if a plane flies over your building that they're doing something illegal. That's stupid. I don't know who came up with that. It was stupid. All you got to do is say that we have the law now says you can build about, if you got, I don't know what. I think sometimes I have to laugh when I see some of the stuff they do. But anyway, the other thing I want to talk about this morning, OC, was these cars that we have now. And I don't know, I was told that somebody had been taken to court, and they had all these colored lights in front of the car and stuff like that. And the judge had said that it wasn't illegal. Now, my question is this, and I can tell you that I've seen some cars where it's a distraction to people who are driving. When you see one car, I saw one the other night, with green, pink, and blue lights, and he kept changing the colors. I don't know how he does it. It must be switches or something in the car. But those kinds of things are distractions. And then when people see that, it automatically takes your attention, and you look that way. And when you look at that, something else could become, and you get an accident. We have to stop catering to idiots in this island, because people that do that stuff, I see have got lights under the car. They got lights on top of the car. They got lights every place in the world. Oh, see what we can do.
What brings into question is how do those vehicles get passed when they have to undergo an inspection for registration and for relicensing? Of course, we know that they may put it back to the normal situation, and then as soon as the inspection is approved, then they switch back over. It is, I don't envy the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service and their traffic section in terms of their ability to police it. It is not easy. One can say that they could post officers on the roads at night when these vehicles are spotted. But it all boils down to not only just enforcement by the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, but also by the willingness of our citizens, the people who live here, to abide by the law. And it seems as if in some areas we're becoming more and more lawless in these islands. Absolutely. When it comes to certain things.
Absolutely. And see, the thing is that bothers me is that I don't know all we have to do is to make laws, and then when these people break the law, here is the fine. If you are driving or doing something violating the law like that, maybe the first time you get a warning, but if you're caught again, we have people running around here without legitimate license tags that are. Oh, see, if I can tell you this, that there are people that go to get their car inspected that can go there with almost anything wrong, and they get the inspection. I know that for a fact, and I'm not going to talk about where it happened, but I can tell you that these things happen. And when I see, the other day in the morning you were talking, we heard it was selling the iguanas and stuff after they brought them back in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All of this stuff is going on in Cayman, and because we don't have laws and we don't have, you see, I can say something here. One of the things, if you see what you like, but I guy up in Philippines, Duterte,
mm-hmm.
he decided he was going to change, and that's what we need. We need to get laws, and then if you don't abide by the laws, you go pay the price. You see, but we let people get away with anything, and then it becomes the norm, you see. Complacency sets in, and then people see it and people talk about it. But government that's supposed to be regulating this stuff doesn't do a thing about it. I don't know why they don't do it. You're supposed to go in and say, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make laws now that if you're caught breaking these laws, here is the penalty. And they take the vehicle. If you're caught doing that and this is just your first time, you get away because we're going to give you one, but if you catch it again, we can take the vehicle. That's a little bit. We got to make laws that are tough, and otherwise society going to be going down the drain. It already is. And I mean, when I see some of the stuff that's going on now with the what you call the Waterman thing, we've got getting more decadent with that, and all kinds of stuff that everybody adding there's something that's taking off sports stuff. Oh Lord Jesus! And we always refer to ourselves as a Christian nation, and I know God is looking down at us, OC, and He's not very happy with what He sees going on here. We have to change, because when we think we got it made, God is going to step in and says, "Okay, I'm going to show you who's in charge now." You see, it's like when I came, nobody expected. It's going to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so my friend, have a good day. God bless you.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much for that, folks. We're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas. Captain Ali Osman Ebanks, Sr., 1891-1974. Captain Ali, like most Caymanian men of his age, had to earn a living early. He was fortunate enough to have acquired various skills from cooking to railroad building, but his love of the sea led him to be employed with Thompson Enterprises of Key West, Florida, as captain of a turtling schooner, the A.M. Adams. The August 1943 National Geographic featured a now famous article by photojournalist David Douglas Duncan that chronicled one of the journeys of Captain Ali and his crew. Duncan's photographs remains one of the finest records of the life led by Caymanian turtle fishermen during this time. Captain Ali employed many of his fellow Caymanians on his schooner, helping to develop their skills as sailors. On his retirement from sea, Captain Ali supported seafaring Caymanians by operating a ship-to-shore radio from his home that enabled their families to remain in contact with them. Captain Ali was a manager of the West Bay Presbyterian Church, now John Gray Memorial, and gave generously to the church and his community throughout his life.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
When you need stability, think Business of the Year.
Considering a new career opportunity, think Best Place to Work.
When dependability matters, think Outstanding Workforce.
In need of a reliable financial partner, think Bank of the Year.
When you seek excellence, think Cayman National.
No matter how many accomplishments we achieve, we always set the bar higher. That's why we are the most awarded bank in Cayman, and we are proud to be your
2018 Bank of the Year.
They say cleaning your house never killed anyone, but why take chances? Spend your time doing what you love and leave the rest to Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential with 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Take back your life and get the job done right the first time. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511.
The Cayman Pharmacy Group would like to thank the Cayman communities for their continuous support for over the past decade. CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy opened its doors in March 2000. West Bay Pharmacy first opened their doors in March 2004. The Cayman Pharmacy Group was established in July 2007. Throughout the years, our CPG family has provided more than just pharmaceuticals to our loyal friends and customers. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has protected the lives of our medical community by securing the best healthcare advice and pharmaceutical services. To us at CPG, you are more than just a number. So, we are taking the time to say thank you for choosing CPG. The Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about, because they on sale this month. Dial teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vamped Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500, like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale. Only at Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
Rotaract Blue, in support of the Cayman Special Needs Community, present the 11th Annual Open Arms Gala, The Great Gatsby. Saturday, May 25th at Ristorante Papagayo. Cocktails begin at 6 p.m. 3-course dinner, award ceremony, silent auction at 7 p.m. Attire is Gatsby chic. Your ticket is only $100 per person. Your table only $1,500. Tickets available online at eventpro.ky or email president.rotaractblue@gmail.com. The Open Arms program promotes care, understanding, and non-discrimination for disabled persons. The Great Gatsby by Rotaract Blue. Inspiration to the next generation.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio, but we will have guests here after the 8 o'clock news, and we will be discussing the public safety fair that will take place tomorrow, the 16th of May. I believe it will be at the Sir Vassal Johnson Hall, but I will give you more details, and our guests will give you more details after when they arrive and after the show begins with them. As you know, I'm always scouring the newspapers to find various things. My favorite, of course, is the Tradewinds newspaper. And on the Tradewinds newspaper, for some reason, it looks like they may have published this one on Saturday, May the 13th, 1967. Which was unusual for it to be published on a Saturday. But I believe I know why. At that time, there was a Commonwealth Parliamentary Association meeting here in the Cayman Islands. I think it was probably the first one to be held here in the Cayman Islands. So they may have done publication after that, covering that. Now, there is an article in there entitled, "Please Have a Heart." No, says Rotary. And this article is about a decision that should have been taken by the Rotary Club of the Cayman Islands, which had been formed in, I believe, in the 60s here in Cayman. I'll just read the article rather than trying to paraphrase anything. It says that the president of the Cayman Rotary Club, Mr. E.O. Panton, has decided against taking an immediate stand on wishes from many fellow Rotarians that the organization fully sponsor an open heart operation for 10-year-old Jason Powery. Says at the association's weekly luncheon Thursday afternoon at the Seaview Hotel, many members pressed that the Rotary Club undertake full financial responsibility for the cost of the operation and the child's trip to the United States. But Mr. Patton refused to take an immediate decision on the matter, saying that he would first have to call a meeting of the directors of the organization before he could make a final decision. Young Jason is scheduled to fly to the United States shortly before the open heart operation at the Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. If he does not undergo that vital operation, contributions to Tradewinds Open Heart Operation Fund will be returned to donors. So what it appears as if, we know that Mr. Powery needed the open heart surgery, only 10 years old. We know that there was a fund that was established by the Tradewinds, and we also know that the Rotarians wanted to, but Mr. E.O. Panton, wanting to ensure that he follow proper procedures, needed to consult or needed to call a meeting before any decision was taken on it. Now, subsequent to that, there was an editorial in the Trade Winds newspaper as well, taking issue with the Rotary and what they supposedly stood for, or should have stood for, and their inability to fulfill that obligation. Now, one of the questions you may ask yourself, in today's day and age, if such a situation had arisen, would the chairperson or the president of any association be able to take it upon themselves? Would they have to call a meeting? Could some sort of round robin procedure be in effect to see how quickly a decision could be made in that area? Now, here is the editorial from this, and I have to read very quickly because we're getting to news time. It says, when a group of business men formed Rotary International several years ago, they pledged that the organization would assist the community development as much as possible. Today, after spreading its wings throughout the free world, Rotary International's motto is still assistance, and more assistance whenever and wherever possible. But this week, we openly wonder if the Rotary Club of Cayman still remembers its pledge to help develop the community. The reason for our query is this: local Rotarians' apparent lack of interest in the affairs of the community is so glaringly conspicuous that it challenges the imagination. The situation is so ludicrous that it really isn't funny. Our Rotarians should be thoroughly ashamed of themselves for the shameful manner in which they have neglected the general public they so solemnly vowed to help. All they do every week is drive to the local hotel, gobble up the food, and completely bypass the aims and aspirations of their illustrious organization. From all accounts, their most eye-catching characteristic is a fabulous fondness for food. We are not saying that since the club's inception it has not done or attempted to do something worthwhile for the community. Such a statement would be folly. What we are saying is that more could and definitely must be done for the good of all concerned. This service club has been dormant for much too long as far as community assistance is concerned. And if this farcical state of dormancy continues for much longer, we dare say the organization will unquestionably fade into oblivion before long, a fate that would do no one any good. We think it is full time that this group of gentlemen pull up their pants, get up from around the dining table, and sit down at the conference table for the benefit of all and sundry. By so doing, they would be helping not only the community on a whole, but also government, both of which badly need all hands on deck. And so there it was, a condemnation of the Rotary at that time because of their failure. Now, the editorial didn't mention the case of Mr. Jason Powery, but we all know that that was what it was intended to. I'm sure that Rotarians these days feel much proud, very proud in terms of their accomplishments, what they do for the community here in the Cayman Islands. And this article and this editorial should in no way reflect on the current state of Rotary here in the Cayman Islands. Folks, we've reached the Time check for 8 o'clock and the news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Studio time by Price Right is 8 o'clock.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
Access. Information. Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Reports from the Milwaukee Journal suggest that a Madison woman charged in Cayman with having a gun in her luggage has killed herself with a different gun when she learned prosecutors there intended to put her on trial for a second time. The Journal Sentinel reports that a day earlier, a Cayman jury couldn't reach a verdict when she was tried in absentia. Madison police tell the Journal that Carol Ann McNeil Scoropan left her home near Lake Mendota for a walk April 18th and never returned. After she didn't return her phone calls, her husband called the police, who joined others in searching the woods near her home. Police say after learning she'd been upset over the pending case and was likely armed, officers donned body armor and a ballistic shield as they continued their search. When they found her, she was already dead. Scoropan, a certified public accountant, was active in the Dane County, Wisconsin Republican Party. Make sure to stay with Radio Cayman as we follow this developing story. In other news, how is the leadership of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service ensuring they're preparing for a constantly evolving landscape?
There's a whole lot of stuff we're looking at in terms of each week we go in, we have, strategic meetings on a Monday and a Thursday morning and then other meetings during the week as required, and we're looking at what's happening today, what's happening tomorrow, what are the factors that are impacting on us, and what do we need to do to be ready, what does success look like.
Police Commissioner Derek Burns says the team is consistently looking at where they need to position themselves and their resources to be better. Mr. Burns says at present they're comfortable with the resources provided, so the major focus now is training to ensure they are optimizing those resources. Cayman Arts Festival's newest project, the Youth Cayman Arts Festival Weekend, wraps up, and organizers say it was a big success.
I think everything went really well, especially that when it's first time you might have some surprises. But what we have planned went perfectly with what we decided. I mean, what we wanted is just to expose our youth for the first time to some of the events, with them as headliners. So I think they did a really good job.
Marius Ghana says the Youth Cayman Arts Festival saw 6 events spanning 4 days, catering to different ages in various locations of Georgetown. Up next is the monthly Music at the Library event. You can get all the details by checking out Cayman Arts Festival's Facebook page. And the Education Ministry gives a boost to a very special Cayman Islands miss. Details now from Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego.
When 17-year-old Leticia Bush took home the title of Miss Teen Cayman Islands last summer, she also earned a 4-year scholarship. Education Minister Juliana O'Connor Connolly last week presented Leticia with a check for the scholarship amount valued at $54,000. Leticia, who is currently completing an Associates of Arts degree in Social Studies at UCCI, plans to earn a law degree at a university in the United Kingdom.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC who will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News. Sudan's military rulers and opposition leaders are working out the makeup of the top-tier Sovereign Council as they finalise conditions for a 3-year transition to civilian rule. Each side insists it should have a majority in the council, which the army currently runs. Under the deal, the opposition alliance is to get 2/3 of the seats on the Legislative Council. Amid heightened tensions between Washington and Tehran, the US has ordered the departure of what it describes as non-emergency government employees from Iraq. Abortion rights activists in the US say they will use all legal means to challenge legislation in Alabama that would outlaw nearly all terminations. The bill passed by the state Senate on Tuesday criminalises abortion even in cases of rape or incest. Malaysian MPs are calling for an investigation into the death of a teenager who allegedly killed herself after conducting an online poll asking whether she should live or die. Malaysian police said approximately 70% of the 16-year-old girl's Instagram followers appeared to vote for her to take her own life. Britain's ITV channel has axed a popular daytime reality show following the death of a guest. The man was found dead a week after he took a lie detector test for the Jeremy Kyle show. China has criticised France's decision to grant asylum to the wife of the Chinese former head of Interpol. Meng Hongwei disappeared in September after returning to China from France, where Interpol is headquartered. BBC News.
Access. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you.
This week at Kirk Home Center, get your green thumb going with 8-inch square planter pots starting at $9.49. And keep plants blooming with a half-gallon watering can for $4.69. And grass growing with an 8-pattern sprinkler for $9.99. Cook rice perfect every time with a 16-cup rice cooker from Black & Decker for $34.99. And save on 12-volt cordless drills from Bosch for $259.99.
Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Hi, I'm Dawn McLean Brady, President of the Cayman Islands Small Business Association, better known as CISPA. Small businesses drive Cayman's economy. As small business owners, we depend on government to create an environment where we, as entrepreneurs, can do what we do best, and that's to provide products and services that are valuable to our customers and, in turn, employ others. The cruise piers and cargo ports provide these opportunities. Encourage our government to build a port and let the Caymanian entrepreneurial spirit shine. Support the port, support our tourism.
Have you just completed a weekend cleanup project? Do you plan to dispose of old appliances, electronics, or even hazardous waste? Dispose of these items at the 24-hour drop-off site located at the entrance of the Georgetown landfill. This site is open to the public daily for your convenience. Do your part. Keep Cayman clean. For more tips on proper waste handling, visit the DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Business owners, managers, and marketers interested in learning how digital and social media marketing can help grow your business? Join Yellow Media Group Monday, May 27th at Yellow Digicon and unleash your company's digital potential. Learn from international digital marketing and social media experts, including speakers from Google and Matchcraft, plus a Fortune 500 digital marketing strategist. Complimentary registration for Yellow Media Group customers. Register now at digiconcayman.com or findyellow.com. Presented by Yellow Media Group in partnership with Google.
A pleasant good morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 85%. Barometric pressure 29.92 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east-northeast at 11 knots. Overnight low temperature was 80 degrees. Synopsis indicate light to moderate southeasterly winds and seas continues across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours due to a weak pressure gradient over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show scattered showers over the Cayman area, which are moving towards the northwest. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of morning showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and temperatures falling to the mid to upper 70s. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Low tide will occur this afternoon at 1:34, high tide again tonight at 7:58. Sun will set this evening at 6:52 and rise tomorrow morning at 5:51. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday morning. Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening on our roads. Traffic steady coming from the east on Shamrock Road and Linford Pearson Highway. Moderate flow of traffic on Eastern Avenue and Godfrey Nixon Way. Light to moderate traffic flow coming from the West Bay four-way start. And traffic is moving along steady in some sections, busy in other sections of Crew Road and the North Sound Road from the Butterfield roundabout heading towards the Industrial Park area. Expect moderate traffic flow. And traffic is steady but flowing on Huldah Avenue as well as on Thomas Russell Way. And on Edward Street, traffic flowing moderately as well as Shedden Road. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll update you traffic-wise. Have a good morning and remember 10-2 on the steering wheel.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I have a very energetic and youthful group of people in the studio with me now this morning, and we will be talking about the recruitment fair that will be taking place at the UCCI tomorrow, Thursday, the 16th of May. It will take place during the hours of 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. and then resume again from 4 until 7 p.m. And I'm sure that that is being done to be able to accommodate as many people as possible, those persons who may have work obligations or otherwise, to be able to come to attend the fair as well. So I'm going to ask you to bear with me. I'm going to give you the names of all of the persons around the table here who are participating in this discussion, and they represent various public safety entities within the government of the Cayman Islands. We have Acting Inspector Roger Williams from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. We have Mr. Shane Vasquez, who is with the Department of Public Safety and Communications. We also have Mr. David Terry from the Cayman Islands Fire Service. Mr. Keon Moore from Her Majesty's Prison. We also have Miss Stacey Mae Jackson, who's with Customs and Border Control. And last but not least, we have Miss Jodianne Powery, who is the Police Media Officer, and she's going to be the focal point in relation to this discussion as well. So I'm going to hand the mic over to her. But first of all, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
It's great to have you here. Great to see such youthful faces. And the discussion off air has been, so enlightening in terms of the fact that you're all so excited about the job and enthusiastic about the jobs that you all do. Miss Jody.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us, Mr. O.C. We are here to discuss, as you said, the public safety recruitment fair, and this is going to take place tomorrow. As you said, the times will be 10 to 3, and that time is dedicated mostly to the schools We have several schools that will be attending between primary and high school. And in the evenings, we'll also be accommodating adults between 4 and 7 p.m. And all the departments and even some more will be in attendance. I know that persons who are not here at this time include workforce opportunity and residency, Cayman, and Health Services Authority is not here with us. As well as the Cayman Islands Coast Guard is not here with us, but they will be represented at the fair.
Okay, excellent. Now, would also disaster management be included in this to a certain extent? Are they
not this year
participating?
Not this year, but every year it seems that this campaign is expanding, and I'm sure that in the years to come we'll have not just disaster management, but also probably the DOE and the DEH a part of it as part of a overall recruitment campaign for government departments. Okay.
Anyone has anything that they want to add to those opening statements by Ms. Powery? No? Okay. Well, I'll start the conversation going. Now, I know that if someone asked me, what is so exciting about working for the immigration department, when it was immigration, I would be able to tell them, now we know that immigration department now has been merged with customs and border control, right? Correct, yeah. Tell us what is so exciting about being in that entity now. Everyone wants you to speak, so they're giving you 2 mics.
Well, for sure, it is definitely exciting because, we're going through so much training right now. Like I said, with legacy immigration, that is, you've been doing passports mostly for your entire years there, and now we're going more in depth with further training. So we're trying to become more intel-led, and it's definitely a lot to go through because you have so much more laws to basically get used to, and but for sure it's exciting. Yeah. And
you have some nice looking uniforms there as well.
Yes.
Very attractive uniforms, as well. Prison service. Let's talk about the prison service. We know that you're always recruiting. We know that the Cayman Islands is small, which to a certain extent applies to all of the units. More so, I would say, prison and the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, because we continue to say everyone knows everyone. Sometimes that may be a good thing, and in other aspects it may not be all that good, because people may find it difficult to have to enforce things against their friends, their relatives, to enforce laws, against them. But at the same time, we're still seeing some recruitment challenges when it comes to the prison service. Tell us about the prison service and what some of the positives about working in the prison service.
Well, firstly, start off by saying good morning to everyone again. I would say there are many positives. I liken it to being a parent. We mold our children, to have a certain impact in society. When these guys come to us, and you notice I say guys because I don't really like to use the word inmates too much. It kind of dehumanizes them. So when these guys come to us, many of them don't have positive role models. Sometimes it's just a case that they may not choose to follow those role models. And we're able to give them that guidance, give them that help, that little push in the right direction. And there's very few things that are as satisfying when you see them actually get it. And they'll come up to you and say, I'm not doing that anymore. This is where I'm headed. So that's a great thing. Another thing is seeing when they are fulfilled. Currently, my role, I'm in charge of inmate labor. So what that means is whenever an inmate requires a job application or to do a particular task, whether on the wing or external, they send it in, and I approve it after going through or deny through the proper channels. So it gives them something to do, routine, which is very important, teaches them how to wake up early for a particular task. So that way when they do get released, because sometimes we focus too much on locking them up and don't realize they are going to be released. They are already have that going for them. So, I mean, there are many positives. I mean, plus we look great in our uniform, so that can't hurt.
So you would impress upon persons who have an interest in working for Her Majesty's Prison Service that the role of a prison officer then is not just simply ensuring that that person is incarcerated and follows all of the rules that are applicable within the prison service, but also in preparing them for their release from the prison as well?
Yes, and even to touch on that a little bit, we just recently created a new unit called ERU, which stands for Early Release Unit, which is housed down by the Immigration Detention Center. And basically we take inmates who are almost close to their release and we place them there. And they're all placed in jobs and they go out just as you and I go, 9 to 5s, whatever their hours are. And they're interacting with the community, their family on a regular basis. And we also overlook sometimes that being locked up can have a mental impact. And readjusting to society is not necessarily that easy. So this helps them to do that. They can even go home on the weekends and, be around family and friends. And we still have them on a curfew, so to speak. So that is helping them to do that.
Now, if someone comes to that fair and the fair tomorrow and wanted to know about the emotional and the mental aspect of being a prison officer in terms of sometimes seeing those prisoners who are basically traversing a revolving door. They're in and out. And when you see them for a second and third time, how do you cope with that? And how do you reassure yourself that you're actually achieving some success in terms of rehabilitation?
That's a loaded one. Well, I can speak personally to say, since I've been there have been a couple of guys who have come back, multiple times. And I think it's not so much what we need to say, but what they realize, because a lot of the times when they do come back and they see us, it's like you see a sense of shame. There's sometimes a sense of disappointment because they may have said, I'm not coming back and this is the last time and I'll see you at Hurley's, But sometimes it's just good to have them, how do I put it? Have them kind of stay by themselves for a little while and then you try again. In training, I kind of was of the impression that if someone doesn't want to be rehabilitated, you just leave them alone. But that mindset had to be changed because we have to realize that even if it's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth chance, we have to keep trying.
Okay. Now, I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on you yet, but we still have a few minutes before we go to commercial break. And rather than having to interrupt someone else, I'm going to continue to talk about the prison service a little bit. And you mentioned the word training. Yes. And tell our listening and viewing audience, if they were interested in working with the prison service, what sort of training they're expected to go through. What are the standards that are set for them?
I guess we can start from maybe recruitment phase. So the first step of it is that you do a written exam, simple English and mathematics. Once you pass that stage, you go to a fitness test where you're tested on, anything from running a mile to doing push-ups. After you pass that stage, then there's the interview stage. And then when you pass that stage, you're chosen and then you start training. And when you start training, you go through things like the prison laws, all the PSIs that govern what you do inside of the prison, as well as the PSML and so forth. You're taught use of force, how to restrain. You are also taught psychology in some sense. You're taught about the different departments that are in the prison because, there are many things that you can do. So you're not just a line officer. And there's some misconceptions in the public that maybe they think, oh, if I do a certain thing or I have to be a security guard, and so to speak, that's the only qualification to be a prison officer. But even that threw me for a whirl because I have a degree in law. So this isn't necessarily my first choice, but being here, I've realized that having a law degree actually helps me because I currently assist with handling PSIs and, making little changes here and there. So we are able to streamline everyone, irrespective of your background, to an area where your skills are being utilized. Currently, over our vocational areas, we have officers who are trained in those areas, woodwork, plumbing, etc., who are teaching inmates. We just started mechanics, giving them something practical to do. And we have a lot of things in the pipeline, even regarding our kitchen. We're heading into a place where we want to turn our kitchen into a training kitchen. So we have a lot of great things in the pipeline.
Okay, now you're sitting next to Miss Jackson from Customs and Border Control, and there is no doubt that in certain aspects, when it comes to, say, for instance, foreign prisoners and their release, that those your two departments have to liaise with each other in that regard. And I'm sure that many who sit around this table and represent various departments have to liaise with each other as well. You mentioned the fact that you have to be familiar with other pieces of legislation as well in that. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. I mean, before doing the merger with Customs and Border Control, we worked very closely together at the airport and other places. And of course, with the police, we've done, many, I guess you would say, operations together. There's also been, like I said, trips that you have to take, or persons that has arrived on island illegally that we've had to work with prison with. So definitely I'm happy to see that we're all together, not only around this table today, but on a whole, for the island, we're definitely one team. It's one island, one love. It's just all one team.
Okay, we're going to take Ms. Susan, and we'll take an early commercial break. So folks, if you're interested in having an exciting job working with the Cayman Islands government in public safety, we urge you to tomorrow attend the fair that is taking place at the UCCI, 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That's mainly to accommodate students who are still in school. 4 to 7 p.m., more to accommodate adults, especially if you're interested, again, like I said, in working in public safety in the Cayman Islands. Lots of opportunity, rewarding jobs, not only from, and I say this guardedly, from a financial standpoint, because no one ever thinks that they're paid, for the amount of work that they do, but certainly stimulating and rewarding as well. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about, because they on sale this month. Doll teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vant Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500, like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale only at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independents, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I have around the table with me this morning representatives from the various government entities that are involved, or some of those entities that are involved in public safety. We're talking about the fair that is taking place on Thursday, that is tomorrow, the 16th of May, at the University College of the Cayman Islands. It will take place between 10 and 3 in the morning and then resume at from 4 to 7 in the afternoon as well. I just want to say also to our listening and viewing audience that we do have our phone lines open. We want to restrict the calls to talking about the fair itself, talking about the possibility of joining any of these services. We don't want to get into personal issues. We don't want to get in relation to how the laws are applied or whatever, because while it may not be above the pay grade of some of the people here, that is really not the area of interest that we have in place this morning. What we want to do is talk about the fair and the attractiveness of these various entities as far as joining them is concerned. And we're going to talk about the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service now, and I want to put in a big plug for the Cayman Islands Scouts here, because the gentleman that I'm going to speak to now, who is an acting inspector, came up through the Scouts organization here in the Cayman Islands, and he is none other than Mr. Roger Williams. Mr. Williams, we know the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, probably the more prominent of all of the public safety units here in the Cayman Islands because of the wide responsibility that the service has for safety in the Cayman Islands and enforcing the laws of the Cayman Islands. So in many instances, you do the investigations, you do the arrests, the courts deal with the prosecutions, and then you send them over to the Royal, Her Majesty's Prison. Then Her Majesty's Prison, in some instances, releases them into the public after they have served their time, or may hand them over to Miss Jackson in Immigration to get them out of the jurisdiction as well. Tell us about the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service.
Good morning, all. Good morning to the listening public. Just want to thank you for the plug for the Cayman Islands Scouts Association. But just something that Ms. Power said earlier. I was a part of the first public safety recruitment, which quite a few years ago, I think 3-4 years ago, and that was had at the Georgetown Town Hall. And I'm just so happy to see that more departments are coming on. When I look at the list here and I see approximately 7 to 8 departments. Back then it was only 4 or 5. So it's, every year it is expanding. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, is as you rightfully said, sir, is one of the, or is the entity that is most seen because of the role that we have. I would dare say that a lot of times we are the first responders, even if the fire takes over when they arrive, or CBC or Her Majesty's Prison later on. But I know my colleague from the 911, I'll call them, I can't say. I'll say
Department of Public Safety Communications.
So my colleague here will always say they're the first responder in a sense, because they actually receive the call. But when they dispatch that call, most calls, I would say it often goes to the police officer. So what does that mean? Obviously, we have a duty to investigate crime, prevent, protect life and limb, and respond to any and all incidents, from aircraft disaster to minor MVA to, anything that the public requires. I mean, just the other day, an officer was saying that he went to a situation where there was bees. And even though it's not a police matter, the police was called and expected to at least, provide some level of comfort to the person until the respective department gets there. But being a police officer is a very rewarding occupation and profession, I should say. It is multifaceted. It's not just one direction. It's not just about arresting people and sending them to Her Majesty's prison. It's about interacting with the community. It's about engaging business partners, engaging the community. We have one of the things I always say about policing is that you can move laterally, right across the board. So one day you could be a firearms officer, you could be a beat and patrol officer, you can go in the helicopter in one day. You can do all of those things. You can go on the marine vessel, you can, do a lot of things, and that's all in one day's work. So when you look at joining the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, it is initial 2 years of beat and patrol, because the concept is that every officer should have the foundation in going on the streets, learning how to interact with the communities. A lot of times we have, our own personal drives in terms of coming in. I want to work with a tactical unit, or I want to work with the helicopters. But after about a few weeks in, I'm like, actually, I want to do something else. I want to go here, I want to go here. I've been a part of several recruit class, and I can tell you that the mindset from the day one to when they actually graduate 2 years after completely changes. It is very interesting to see actually someone transition from, I won't say an ordinary member of public, but a public thinking to a police and law enforcement thinking, and also as a government worker thinking. It's a very interesting transition. So it is a very rewarding career. Obviously, we spoke about earlier the pay it comes with is not just about, as stated, arresting people. The benefits of working for the Cayman Islands government is really great. As the DG would say, we're trying to make this a world-class civil service. I would dare say it in a lot of respect, it already is.
Okay, great.
So I look around the table and I'm impressed. Mr. Terry, actually from the fire, is actually a former scout as well. So I just give
somewhere.
Yeah. So we all kind of grew up together around this table in some respect. So I'm just very happy to actually see that there's a lot of, as you can see, youthful exuberance around the table and in the respective departments. And that is the same thing that we're looking at as a Royal Cayman Islands Police, the youth, the future, so.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you very much, for that. I want to talk a little bit more later on about Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, and some of it may be a little bit controversial, and I won't involve you in that conversation. I'll sort of like make that more of an editorial, and it has to do. You spoke about the various facets of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, helicopter, forensics, and one of the areas that was challenging for some of the local people in the police service had to do with the commercial crimes branch. And the fact that when you're dealing with white-collar crimes and you're dealing with white-collar organizations, it seemed as if there was a propensity in the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service to recruit and to assign those persons who were, quote unquote, more acceptable to the financial community and the bigwigs there, rather than having to see a local face and to talk to a local person or to share sensitive information with a local person. And like I say, I'm editorializing now, and I would hope that the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has gotten beyond that now, and that there is equal opportunity for all.
Well, I can speak
Oh,
on
very
that
good,
to
very
say-
good,
I can speak on that to say that now we have a financial crimes unit, and within the financial crimes unit, we also have a cybercrime unit, because that is something that is now a developing crime in our country, and I want to say have equal parts We have quite a few local and Caribbean officers in our financial crimes unit, as well as we have English officers in our financial crime unit. And the persons that are there, they're not there because of what they look like or who they are. They're there because of the skills that they bring to the organization and the specialist skills that we need in order to execute our jobs as officers and for them as financial crime officers. And so I dare say that, yes, we do have equal parts persons there. There is a balance across the service, and that's something that we're constantly working on. And that's the reason why for the last few years we've been doing local recruitment drives. Last year we've recruited just past graduation, 23 officers graduated. Within that, there are obviously a lot of requirements that you have to meet in order to be a part of the policing batch. But within that, Caymanians get the first choice, and after that, anybody with PR or who have lived in the country for over a period of 4 years will then fill the spaces that are left behind.
Okay, very robust defense of that, and I think I hope the commissioners are listening, because you should be promoted, as a result of that. Now, while we're on that topic, let's talk a little bit more about local knowledge, and in your recruitment drive, what do you look for? How do you, if you don't get it, how do you train your officers to know the local environment, the local scenery?
I'll send that one over to our ex-training sergeant over here,
okay.
Mr. Williams, who was in charge of training the recruits for quite some time.
Yes.
Excellent.
So one of the things we started with, obviously, it's I said earlier, is breaking that mold and transitioning someone from ordinary member of the public, if that's the right term, into a police officer. But one of the things that I was very passionate about was in the initial weeks, as part of teaching discipline, was also making sure that all the students, whether they were Caymanian or not, which majority of the persons that I trained were actually Caymanian, actually knew the culture of the Cayman Islands. So one of the big things I used was the human rights cases, and I went as far back as the 50s and the 60s in those cases, and those cases that actually put Cayman on the map. From persons not wanting to dance in the Georgetown Square, and how things developed from there to I think years ago we had the case that went to the UK, read the Rastafarian, and teach them those little things. One of the other things that I was very passionate about is traveling to places that recruits had never been. So some persons had actually never been to the Botanic Park or the Mastic Trail, and obviously my scouting background, I was very sure to make sure. So I don't think there's any part of Cayman that I don't know, primarily because of the scouts and the policing experience. But I was very passionate about ensuring that they understood the culture, irrespective of them being from here, and even more so if the individuals weren't from here, because I also assisted with the overseas recruitment training as well. So we do have that embedded within the training curriculum, and a key, you can say it's a golden thread, and it runs through from every lesson we teach. So it could be a theft or burglary. One of the things that the training department is keen on is ensuring that local examples are used. And I mean, on a daily basis, if you go in today's paper or yesterday, you can see local examples of everything that we discuss here, and the processes from 911 calling to the police responding to CBC fire, etc. So all our training have some cultural context to it.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to be talking with a representative from the Department of Public Safety and Communications, Mr. Shane Vasquez. Sean Vasquez. I got something wrong. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
They say cleaning your house never killed anyone, but why take chances? Spend your time doing what you love and leave the rest to Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential with 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Take back your life and get the job done right the first time. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Rotaract Blue, in support of the Cayman Special Needs Community, present the 11th Annual Open Arms Gala, The Great Gatsby. Saturday, May 25th at Ristorante Papagayo. Cocktails begin at 6 p.m. 3-course dinner, award ceremony, silent auction at 7 p.m. Attire is Gatsby chic. Your ticket is only $100 per person. Your table only $1,500. Tickets available online at eventpro.ky or email president.rotaractblue@gmail.com. The Open Arms Program promotes care, understanding, and non-discrimination for disabled persons. The Great Gatsby by Rotaract Blue. Inspiration to the next generation.
Attention accounting service providers. According to the Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorist Financing Regulations, all firms providing accounting services, including but not limited to bookkeeping, payroll, accounts preparation, or tax advice, are required to register with the Cayman Islands Institute of Professional Accountants by the 30th of May. A free lunch and learn workshop will be offered on Friday, the 17th of May. For more information or to sign up for the workshop, please call 749-3360 or email admin@ciipa.ky. For additional information, you can also visit cipa.ky. That's ciipa.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio this morning, we have representatives from the various public safety departments, units, sections for the Cayman Islands government. We're talking about the fair that is taking place tomorrow at the UCCI. It will take place from 10 in the morning until 3 p.m. That is to accommodate students, and then from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 7 p.m. It will be to accommodate those persons who are working and more the adults as well. Miss Jody, am I correct in that?
Absolutely, you are. And, I just wanted to mention as well, I did say before that work is going to be there. But what I didn't realize and what I'd like to mention to people is that there will be workshops done by work at the event. Okay. They'll be doing resume writing and interview skills workshops, as well as social media in the workplace workshops. And I think that it is important for people to come out and actually be a part of that and listen, because a lot of times we don't realize that the things that we post on social media, they affect our outside lives, our work. And so it's probably really important for people to come out and actually realize and be enlightened.
Okay, now we're going to talk with Mrs. Sean Vasquez from the Department of Public Safety Communications. And I'm going to ask him to start off by, we heard Roger speak to the fact that you may have come from the same background in terms of Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as well. And give us a little background information about yourself and your transition over to communications. And,
Thank you, Mr. Connor. So I was a police officer for a little over a decade, and there was just a lot to be honed from that experience alone and being a part of the civil service from then. And, as I look around here in the room as well, too, it's, we're a product of our environment, as they say, and just to see that a lot of the experiences that we have and our jobs are not even careers anymore. They're actually a part of our entire lifestyle. And just to build on that, we also have we've had the opportunity to progress through the ranks, through the structure. So I think being in the civil service, as Roche said before, not only being a world-class civil service, but being afforded the opportunities for training and to be a part of something even greater. We're a small community, so the impact that we see, I think echoes a lot more and speaks to us as people, as families, and it just extends into generations to come. From the prison, we see a lot of, prisoners, people that we've interacted with in the past, and they'll come up to us, years later as well to, Mr. Sean, Mr. Roger, I really appreciate what you did for us back then. It changed my life. So it's a really good trickle effect, I should say, that I wanted to speak to first of all. So being a part of the Department of Public Safety is, even though you can say that, one facet of it that we're not on the front line, we actually have a front row seat to a lot, basically 100% of exactly what happens here on the island. We are the critical hub and resource center for deploying a lot of these agencies that, that are in the room here today. So it gives you such an opportunity to give back to the community on a whole, where you have to stay on the line with the callers, where you're able to assist the police, the fire, and to give them those resources that they need, whether it be through CCTV, through the mapping software, through the radio communications that we have. There are a lot of interoperabilities that exist in the Department of Public Safety. So every day is different. You experience something very different. I'm sorry, I'm piggybacking off of Roger again. But there are a lot of laterals as well too that you have the opportunity and that's afforded to you in the Department of Public Safety. You can be an electronic monitoring officer. You have the opportunity to work with the CCTVs, and you have the opportunity to become a telecommunications officer. All three jobs are extremely demanding. So you have to have definitely a certain type of passion, a certain type of drive, and it speaks to your integrity as a person. It speaks to your unselfishness, and a lot of what you give back to the community. It leaves you with such a sense of accomplishment that you wake up each day wanting to go to work.
Now, some have spoken about the stressfulness of the job, and there's no doubt that all of the jobs that are represented around this table, there's a certain element of stress in all of them. Can you talk to what your department is doing or does to ensure that your employees are able to cope with the job?
Absolutely. Well, we do love our food.
Tell us about that.
Jokes aside. But we have quite a few support systems and support programs in place for our teams, I'd like to say. We have outside agencies and third parties and inside agencies as well that will come in and speak to our officers. Not just for traumatic experiences or stress-related experiences, but on a holistic level. That just ensures that our officers have someone to speak to as well too, because we can go from taking a call of, child abandonment or child abuse to a cat stuck in a tree. But the reality of it is that we're all humans, and there's a human element involved that our officers do take on a lot daily for 12 hours a day, sometimes more, with someone possibly wanting to take their life. And that's a lot to shoulder for anyone, not just our officers. So the department does provide a host of different support systems that officers have access to.
Excellent. We have one caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. Good morning to my fellow colleagues.
Good morning. Good morning.
This is Miss Jean, and I represent work. We're going to be a part of the Public Safety Expo at UCCI tomorrow, and I'm imploring our residents, especially the young persons who have not decided on their career. This is something that you're going to be a part of. If you come to the fair, you will get to be able to share stuff with you. True public safety requires collaboration between law enforcement and the community. And that is exactly what we want to do here at work. We are preparing persons to be outside there, just preparing for the workforce. And when I look at my work with the prisoners as well, if we do not give them something, we have to give back something. We have to get them prepared. They feel hopeless, and so in the true sense of the word, it says a collaboration, and that means all of us are on board. Communities must come together, and we must ensure that our islands are safe. We have to do it. We're not asking for outside help. We must start to foster harmonious and working relations as we go about our duties. And I'm passionate about this. People who know will tell you that for every person who is gainfully employed, it's a less person that is out there, activities in crime, criminal activities. So I implore my colleagues, we will continue to work together and foster every relationship there is to make our communities safer.
Okay, Ms. Jean, while we still have you on the phone there, so some of the things that work will be doing at the job fair tomorrow, can you detail those again for us, please?
Yeah, we will have a resume workshop, very short, just to tell people, a lot of people who have not been working, are not really prepared with resumes. They have interview, apprehensions. They don't want to go in front of an interviewer. We'll be sharing that and just basically letting people know how they can register with us. How does work, the things that we do, some of the areas. We've got TVET, we've got training and development, and a little bit more awareness of, come up to us, register, and let us try to start to prepare you for the workforce. It may be a career in law enforcement, it may be a career in private sector, but we are there because, like I said, employment is key to all of this.
Okay, and your challenge is there simply from a recognition standpoint also, because your work is sort of like newly created in terms of that particular entity, not that certain aspects of it wasn't around before. So you have that identity issue that you want to get across to people as well.
Absolutely, and to be a part of your community, because we have the stigma, people don't want to work, all of that stuff, and especially law enforcement. We have seen so many people who are actually in law enforcement and doing so well because they're passionate about what they do. And in my quote, it will tell you, if you do not have a passion for what you do, then all is lost.
Yes.
And it's hard work. It's stressful. But at the end of the day, you must look at the outcome, and the outcome has to be tangible. And the outcome has to be in the interest of our communities, our island, and the people that we serve. Service, world class, as Mr. Manderson would say.
Okay. And service before self.
Absolutely, sir. You have been there and you have done it, and you're one of our pioneers, and we commend you always because you have actually executed your task.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Jean, for that. Folks, we are about a minute or two before headline news at 9 o'clock. When we return, we will be talking with Mr. David Terry from the Cayman Islands Fire Service. For those of you who were wondering whether or not, what has happened to the fire service? Where are they? Well, they're here. Fire Service also one of the older departments, within the government of the Cayman Islands. Goes way, way back, even before Immigration came into existence in 1972. Caymanian Protection Law. That's when the Immigration Department was created. Before that, it was a role that was shared by police officers. Police officers were our immigration officers at that point in time as well. So we see one of the older services and two of the services in the Cayman Islands that always boasted of being 100% Caymanian as well. Now, we know that we're pushing towards Caymanianization of the public service. That is achievable to a certain extent, but we also know that we still have to rely on others, also. And we see that within the complement of some of these services that are represented here this morning. So with that, we're going to take a break for headline news. When we return, the conversation will continue, and we will start with Mr. David Terry from the Cayman Islands Fire Service. So please stay tuned.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Headline. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
The Child Month Talent Expo will be held this Saturday at the Harkwell Theater. The event is organized by the Department of Children and Family Services and will include dancers, singers, virtuoso instrumental performances, and spoken word sets. Alabama has become the latest U.S. state to move to restrict abortions by passing a bill to outlaw the procedure in almost all cases. The law includes a ban on abortions in cases of rape or incest. Supporters say they expect the law to be blocked in court, but hope the appeals process will bring it before the Supreme Court. 16 other states are seeking to impose new restrictions on abortion. And the Jeremy Kyle Show has been axed by ITV in the UK after the death of a guest who took part in the program. Steve Diamond was found dead on May 9th, a week after filming the show, during which he took a lie detector test. ITV's chief executive, Carolyn McCall, said the decision was a result of the, quote, gravity of recent events. The channel had initially suspended filming the show, which had been on the air for more than 3,000 episodes since it began in 2005. Those are your latest headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We here in the studio are talking about the recruitment fair at the University College of the Cayman Islands tomorrow, Thursday, the 16th of May. Talking about recruitment for the various departments involved in public safety here in the Cayman Islands. I want to remind you, the listening audience, if you're a student and you're interested in knowing about these various departments, if you may have an interest after graduation, some of you may even be doing summer internships with some of these departments, as well, or after school. I used to call it work experience. For instance, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Franz Manderson, when he was in high school, after-school program at the Immigration Department, came and worked there in the afternoons after school, became an immigration officer, became senior immigration officer, assistant chief immigration officer, deputy chief immigration officer, chief immigration officer, now the deputy governor as well. So it goes to show you with dedication and sacrifice that You can basically assume any position within the government of the Cayman Islands as long as those doors are left open for you. Sometimes some people, you have to take the door and force it open, or take a pry bar and pry it open. But if sometimes that's what it takes to get there, as long as you have the capabilities, you should do so. So, students, if you're interested, between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., for those persons, adults, between 4 and 7. You may be thinking about a career change, for instance. Yesterday I was listening on Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and I think there was Dr. Hazel Brown who was on there and talking, about nursing and about the turnover in terms of nursing after 2 years sometimes, and a serious recruitment challenge when it comes to for nursing, and that's not only locally but worldwide as well. So you may be interested in a career change, and what better place to do that than with the Cayman Islands government. So we're going to talk about the Cayman Islands Fire Service, a very prominent service within the Cayman Islands, and we're going to ask Mr. David Terry to talk about that. And first of all, by telling us what prompted you to join the Cayman Islands Fire Service? What interested you in that?
Well, good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning again.
My colleagues. Good morning to all listeners currently listening. To be honest, I personally never thought I was going to be a fire officer. Mm-hmm. As children growing up, you always have interests in fire trucks and airplanes, and you want to be everything. And it'd been some years after I graduated high school, been through a few jobs, had various experiences. And before that, like Mr. Williams said earlier, we were involved in Scouts, Duke of Edinburgh, mm-hmm. Things that were more technical and showed you how to be technical and physical mm-hmm. at the same time. When the opportunity came about, what I said in the interview, I was asked a similar question, was something along the lines that, I wanted a career to get into a job that would be mentally and physically challenging. And I wanted something that kept me held at a standard. I'm a young parent, and I have wonderful parents, I have excellent parents, and I wanted to get into a career that my kids could look up to me, and be proud of me as a young Caymanian father. Also, I felt at that time, and I still feel this way, that the service can provide training for the technical skills. Can groom you as well. Something similar to what Mr. Moore said, and it probably works in collab with all of our departments. It's where you have to change your mindset from being at public thinking in that sense, even though we're all still apart, to rebalance or to be always balanced as a person, as an individual. So in that sense as well, it provided a platform, a foundation to even influence people in the public, as in terms of being balanced. Mm-hmm. If it was something as simple as time management or how to acquire simple knowledge on, it could be laws, or any aspect in your life. The thing I really liked about the service was getting into it. You had to. All human beings are adaptable creatures. That is something that we really have to exercise in the fire service, because we aren't quite as lateral, I like to think, as police. I've been there for just over 4 years, mm-hmm. and the position that I'm working in now, I can be quite lateral to where I can probably work in 2 or 3 sides of the department within a 24-hour period. But it's just the foundation, and to be honest, I like working with my hands. You have to have a certain level of competency, because I'd say the probably 2 best known sides of the department are the domestic and airroom sides. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But because of the everyday changes that are occurring with newer building codes and materials. It can range from that to how vehicles are being made, and airplanes, the differences, the different model aircrafts and codes and regulations that are coming out can be on a daily, or a yearly standpoint. We have to remain quite competent, to the various changes. It's just something that's always challenging. And like I said, you have to learn how to balance yourself. If it's mentally, you have to have a certain level of physical balance and standard in order to perform,
Now, tell us about your training program as well. For some of those persons who may only look at the physical aspect of the fire service, tell us about the various training aspects.
Well, piggybacking off of some of my colleagues with some terms, we've heard from the Deputy Governor. I think every time he speaks, we get to meet him at any meetings and he speaks in person. We always hear him say, we're working towards becoming a world-class civil service. It's really wonderful right now. A lot of the changes and improvements and transitions that the fire service is making moving forward, as in terms of our succession planning and where we're trying to head towards our standards. I can tell you that right now we're going through a recruitment process. Initially, the initial recruitment are probably very similar to what prison and police will do. But as in terms of when you actually get in to start training, I would say it's quite extensive. It, like I said, from the time you start in training itself, it teaches you, it kind of forces you to learn how to balance yourself. Because it definitely challenges you on a scholastic standpoint. Not saying that you have to have certain degrees or obviously you have to have a certain level, but after you get in, it's like there's a level that you're held to, a standard that you're held to, as in terms of learning. We go, speaking on an international basis, we go off of NFPA standards, as in terms of training for what we use policy-wise in our firefighting. So, we go off the most current manual, and it's just balancing how you have to change around your life in order to do your utmost and be your utmost to get the best results out from between your physical to the scholastic side of training.
And from an internal standpoint, what is available to you in terms of additional training? And you spoke about continuing to be familiar with varying standards, knowing type of automobile that may come out. You need to know something about that in the event of a crash, and you have to extricate someone from it, the type of aircraft, and of course the big challenges here in the Cayman Islands now, the buildings that exceed the height of the ladders. I want you to talk about that a little bit, and I also would like you to talk about those people, to tell those people who think that fire officers just sit and play dominoes or something like that when they're doing nothing. What else is being done as well?
Well, I'm going to keep referring back to balance, because I think that's what it's all about. Everyone here knows what shift systems are like. I think all of our shift systems they vary. Our aerodrome side probably has the closest with CBC, because they work on when the airport is open to when the airport is closed, basically, and for other things outside of that. Sorry, just gathering my thoughts.
Sure.
What about the rescue?
As in terms of competency with keeping up to date, with things that are ever changing, I can see that in the time that I've been here, I've been to various calls. A lot of them can come in from 911 as the same call, but I've never actually had a call that's been exactly the same. So every single call, every experience presents something new. It teaches you something new. Like I said, we have certain standards that we go off of that are just, certain things like our operational orders, our NFPA standards, certain things don't really change daily as in terms of those things when it comes to training. the way we train as well, we have certain layouts that we go by, each crew goes by on a timely basis. Sometimes we don't even get in the books, we get outside and we're cutting up cars and doing practicing different techniques with stabilization, so that's those types of practices. Obviously on the aerodrome side, when it comes to the types of aircrafts and stuff, aircrafts these days most are pretty much made the same. They all have a certain lifespan, but it's generally where a lot of the aircrafts that come in are those that come in all the time. As I would say, it's not necessarily very rare, but it's quite rare that we get an aircraft that's that different than something we haven't seen before. And then, I wouldn't say that on our downtime, because we really don't have downtime, but when we're not as busy, we're encouraged to keep up to date with things, keep sharp in things we know already. We're encouraged to even just go into YouTube, and check out, how aircrafts are being made, or a new forcible entry technique, things that, like I said, we may have to use because of the changes being made with what we're working around. Speaking on another standpoint as well, the department itself sends persons away to training sometimes in Ocala, in Florida, at the fire college there. We can take it upon ourselves to, go and acquire classes, to get into classes and get certifications for those. And we're encouraged to do so as well. I can say that our HR and our administration constantly send reminders via email, that we have a civil service college that we can take advantage of. It's all working around trying to become world class. The last time we had a meeting, even the chief officer made it very clear that with the improvements and the direction we're moving forward with as the Cayman Islands Fire Service, we're just trying to become our best selves. We want to, it's not only about your experiences in the past, but we want, to go through a process that we can select the absolute best persons for the roles moving forward, to have a clear path and really become that world-class civil service.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Terry. We have a caller, Ms. Susan. Do we want to take the break first and then take the caller after? We're going to take a commercial break. We have a caller on hold. We're going to ask that caller to hang in there. As soon as we return from the commercial break, we will take your call. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
They say cleaning your house never killed anyone, but why take chances? Spend your time doing what you love and leave the rest to Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential with 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Take back your life and get the job done right the first time. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511.
How would you like to drive off in a brand new 2019 all-white Mercedes-Benz CLA 250? On Saturday, June 1st at Mango Tree, you could be that lucky person. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman presents its annual charity fundraising event, Benzorama 2019. That's right, one lucky winner will be announced at the Mango Tree on Saturday, June 1st, and that lucky winner could be you.
If you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance.
Tickets are $25 each, or 5 tickets for only $100. Proceeds from the funds raised go towards various Lions community projects. Tickets can be purchased online at eventpro.ky, or stop by one of our ticket outlets, including Radio Cayman Studios, Funky Tangs, South Coast Bar, Reflections Food for Less, and West Bay Road SO, or can be purchased from any of our active Lions community members. Benzorama 2019. We are all winners once you support the Lions and our community.
While the primary source of alcohol for underage drinkers is people they know, research shows that 7 to 9% of those who report alcohol use in the Cayman Islands purchase alcohol directly from retailers. Tips Off-Premise helps retailers focus on verifying the legal drinking age when selling alcohol. Since the program was introduced here in the Cayman Islands back in 2005, we have trained over 400 persons and partnered with over 10 retailers. Contact us on 949-9000 to have your staff trained today. This message is brought to you by Radio Cayman and the National Drug Council.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. As promised, we're going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Well, good morning, Tosi, and your guest.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You know, as I listening this morning, a lot of time people are calling in complaining about things in Cayman. But I can say without fear of contradiction, I'm an old senior citizen, but never in the history of Cayman have we ever had such a vibrant civil service led by the Deputy Governor, Mr. Madison. I think he's doing a very tremendous job. The whole Cayman can be proud of our civil service, which is getting to be one of the best in the world. I think right now it is one of the best in the world. And people often overlook, like our Premier, then realize he's standing toe-to-toe up in Europe and England, those big boys up there. I've been seeing my England about election process and same-sex marriages and all that.
Caller, we're losing your transmission.
Huh?
We were losing your transmission there.
Oh, well, no, I just want to say congratulations to all those, especially Mr. Madison and our Premier.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for that. Thank you very much. Positive things about the civil service, and that is due not mainly to the performance of those services, the performance of their personnel, like people who we have around the table here discussing the job fair this morning as well. Let's go to the next call. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I was just wanted to ask, could someone see a future within one of these organizations if they have a criminal record? Maybe something they've done in the past when they were younger, or would it depend on the type of criminal record they have?
And when you say criminal record, one that still exists or has been expunged?
Yes, one that still exists.
Okay. Very good question, caller. Thank you very much for that. Anyone in a position, Ms. Jody, and speak from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service? Anyone familiar with personnel issues?
Well, I can speak from our perspective that in order to be a police officer, you have to have a certain standard. And so that is why we have these recruitment fairs, to ensure that we teach our children from the time that they are children that in order to become a police officer, to become a fire officer, to become a prison officer, or to work with 911 and any of the civil service across the board, that you have to make sure that you keep yourself in check, that you make sure that you don't get in trouble with the police, because if you do so, unfortunately, that means that you don't have a future in one of these departments. And one of the reasons is because we also have to safeguard our organization. We have a duty to our organization to make sure that the people that are there are ones that will be the best for the public, because our organizations and our employees ultimately is the public, the people of the Cayman Islands, and we have to make sure that we put our best faces forward.
But we do see the government, and in particular the deputy governor as well, former convicts being given an opportunity, given a second chance. There may be sensitive areas, for instance, where that may not be possible. fire service, for instance, do you know whether or not a criminal record is likely to deter a person from being employed by the fire service?
I'm not 100% positive on whether it's something that's possible or not. I think that it would depend. I've had people ask me this question, because like I said, we're going through recruitment right now, and all I say to them is, go ahead and apply still. Like what you said, things can change, circumstances and people can change for the better. And criminal records could be expunged, and it could be something accommodated. But I couldn't tell you at this moment if it's something...
Okay, public service and public safety and communications. Any?
Well, a lot of the work that is covered and captured in our departments are extremely sensitive. So it would be. It would impact that applicant's opportunity to be able to join.
It would depend on what the conviction, is for.
More importantly, so yes.
Yeah. I was gonna. I mean, if someone is convicted of cyber crime, sometimes they say you could use a thief to catch a thief, right? You might want to use them in your cyber crime department, right?
It would be nice to have a political cruise.
Well, we know Ms. Jackson has to leave, so I want to give her an opportunity for some final comments before she leaves, Ms. Jackson.
Yes, for CBC, I would just like to say that we are, we are the first face that a passenger would see, whether they're visiting or they're local. And a lot of persons don't know what we do behind the scenes. And I would just like to take the opportunity for those who, either students or older persons who are seeking a career for themselves, to definitely take the time to speak to an officer, whether you find us outside or inside the work field. We are definitely willing to explain. Like I said, we're now newly merged, so there's a lot of training, so there's questions we may not be able to answer as yet, but for sure we would love to be a part of the community in more ways than we are right now. We're trying to become more active, like say in charitable events. We're trying to get more groups now, seeing that we're a bigger team, so we're trying to get more group events together to become more out there, more open.
Okay. Thank you very much. All the best. Again, we have another caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Osteen. Good morning to your guest there.
Good morning.
Let me turn the radio down 1 minute.
Okay. You with us now, caller?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hear you loud and clear now. I have a question, and it's about a police, about hiring and everything, but I just want to make sure that, what is the requirement? When we are doing recruiting, is there a procedure that we go through, especially hiring foreign police? Because as we can see now, the rest of the world, we're getting a lot of deportees coming from the rest of the world, and what procedures are we going through to make sure their police records and everything are genuine, or they're genuine, as they say they are? Because we're getting a lot of people that are being deported, and they're coming right to the Cayman Islands. As we had one already, we had a police officer who was wanted for murder back in his own country. So what procedures are we going through now to make sure that we're getting the correct officers? Because if we turn down our own police, our own juveniles and everything for because of their record, what proof are we going to now to make sure that theirs is genuine?
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good question, caller. And we've had instances in the past where people have sort of slipped through the cracks one way or the other, and we find out later that they have a criminal history, and in some instances actually wanted in other jurisdictions, and we have employed them here as well. But we will answer that question for you, or try to answer that. First, we're going to take the other caller that we have. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Yes, I'm just attentively to your panel, and hope that I get to visit that workshop for, but I didn't get to say that it's off. And my question was similar to what that last caller just asked, but I'll go in it to say, what is a criminal record? Can you find? Because in Cayman,
what has been blocking about unemployed young people. We have a lot of that have.
Caller, you're breaking up for some reason. You know, it's coming very spotty. If you're on the speakerphone, you may want to come off it, please.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Go right ahead, caller.
Can you hear me better now?
Much better, much better.
Okay. Well, what my question was, when they define as a criminal record, what definitions are these crimes? Because in Cayman, I know there's a lot of young people that have just a common charge of, from the olden times, more prominent, of just having the thing of being caught smoking a spliff, and then they went to jail because those days there were really no chances. And so that has been what's been blocking a lot of employment for young people locally.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people that come in from other countries who are lovers of those stuff, come here, get a job, because their police record didn't define that where they came from, and they're enjoying life at all levels, getting a job, working, and still doing drugs, because we have a lot of foreign drug users in this country.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. I'm going to switch over to the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, you know, on this. The whole vetting process for officers. And this day and age, things are available. You can go on to some websites, and if you want to find out, you know, about court proceedings against someone in any state in the United States, you can go in. Sometimes they charge you for it. You have to subscribe, and they charge you, but you can get information. The vetting process for Royal Cayman Islands Police Service.
All right. Thank you to the callers. Very, very relevant questions.
Mm-hmm.
Having been one party to having, you know, looked through applications myself, I see these things as the caller suggested. One of the most important thing is that, as I can speak for the police service, one of the things that we have to do as police officers is we have to give evidence at court. And the background of the officer oftentimes comes into the context of the phrase. Oftentimes it does,
yes.
Having given evidence myself. And that is where the issue. So as a police service, we may say yes to an individual. However, when that person brings a court case or a case to the court, that person's background may become evidence against them, you know, as the officer themselves. So I would still encourage, from the first caller, I would still encourage persons to apply to the police service and the other organization. Let that be down to the respective organization as to how they treat the individual or the individual situation. It has to be a case by case. There can be no blanket or painted statement that can capture all. As to say criminal record, it would depend on the criminal record and what the crime was committed. In terms of vetting, I think we often look at it and think that as the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, we're actually by ourselves. But one of the things that we are is a service that is connected worldwide. We have what's called Interpol. I'm sure people know about Interpol from the movies. We're connected to all the Caribbean regions, and we are connected to the U.S. especially. And I'll speak about the conference next week if you'll allow me to do so later. But we are well connected, and we use these agencies, or partner agencies, as part of our vetting. I think the second caller mentioned that we hired someone that had a wanted poster against them, and how we didn't pick that up. That person was actually listed as wanted after he became a police officer. Okay. So he was actually cleared by the same police service that actually then sent out a wanted poster for him in that context. Mm-hmm. So in that regard, every person who actually comes from overseas, certainly from the police service, we do have a very detailed vetting. For the other services, I can't speak because their vetting processes would be a bit different from ours. But to the caller and to anyone listening that may have a police record and is actually interested in the police service, I would say still apply. The police records, as you know, there's a timeline and statute that says how long it can stay on the record. Some things, will stay a bit longer depending on the nature of the crime. crimes are defined. A criminal, to the third call, I believe you asked the question, what is defined as a crime? The criminal record mainly deals with penal code offences, and more serious offences in the traffic law would be considered as part of it. Those would certainly 10 years or more. So under those contexts, that would feature on a criminal record for some time. However, I would still encourage those, irrespective of a criminal record, to still apply.
Also,
Sure.
sorry, sir. I just wanted to say that, if you have a question, if you're not sure, we have a website, www.rcips.ky, and we also have a mobile app. On our website, we have the opportunity for you to provide us with feedback. And that feedback could be anything from a question to a complaint to just a general comment or suggestion. So if you have a question, feel free to call us. My extension at work is 244-2906. You can call and find out if this applies to you. Some people don't know how long their conviction run for, or don't know what the process is to get rid of that.
Get it expunged, yes.
Get it expunged. So give us a call, send us a feedback, and we'll get back to you, usually within 24 to 48 hour period.
I just wanted to,
Sure.
wanted to add, I know just got a message from one of my colleagues to say, in reference to that officer that was sent back overseas, he was actually, the matter was appealed and he was found not guilty, just for that call, because I'm sure that was on that call as well.
Right, for that, the information for that caller as well. And certainly the Her Majesty's Prison Service, it would certainly be uncomfortable if you had someone who was an occupant, an inmate at the prison, and then coming back to work there. You may not be in a position, to speak to this, but I'm sure that would be one of the concerns.
Yes, it could be a concern, but I mean, as you said, I'm not necessarily in a position to speak more on it.
Okay, we have another caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. Ossie. Good morning to your illustrious panel there.
Morning, sir.
And, yes, it's gratifying to hear someone call in. I think I know who the person is. And praise the civil service and really bring out what they're doing, or so to speak. And because often the people who work for government workers are often vilified. And most people don't even know the extent of the duties that they have, much beyond what they're normally expected to do and so forth in many cases. But thanks to that person. I wonder a bit of job fear. Most of the job fears I've been on very few over the many years, but that I've been on, they're all more or less private companies. But I've noticed that 90% of the people there applying for jobs were not Caymanians at all. They were people who just came off the plane and came for that specific purpose, because many of them told me that.
Your question, caller, please.
Yes, I'd like to say, well, first I'd like to, it's curious that we call the prison service Her Majesty's Prison Service and the police service Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. I just wondered.
Well, the one for the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, I think that was designated after one of the royals visited the Cayman Islands, and it was changed to that, given that title after that by the royal.
And the fire service also on the but I just thought that a curious thing, mere semantics, I guess. But the question is really this: is there a very serious effort when we are doing these job fairs? I know you've heard about it, and you're straightening that out really about the criminal records and the extent of it, and that's a matter for our elected representatives to have the courage to deal with also, not just on Mr. Manderson's back, but the effort to try to see that Caymanians are put in these positions, or hire Caymanians, a real serious effort to do that. And I'm speaking of like generational Caymanians. I know people hear me speaking about that all the while, but it is very important that we consider generational Caymanians also, whether they're born here or not, but parents and grandparents and so forth. Caymanians. And I just want...
Caller, I believe that's one of the reasons why I think everyone who's represented around this table now, they're all Caymanians, and they're being put out there and highlighted for the fact that they are Caymanians to encourage Caymanians to apply.
Also, Mr. O.C., I just wanted to say that it's also one of the reasons why we target schools, especially the primary schools, because we want to encourage young Caymanian children to be interested in our services and to know that it is possible for them to have a career in our services and for them to walk a straight and narrow line so that they will be able and be qualified for the job.
We want to thank the caller for that as well. Ms. Susan, do we need to take another commercial break before? We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, because we're going to have a wrap-up session. We're closing off the phone lines now. We know that hurricane season is approaching, and I want each of the representatives around the table to talk about their role in the event of a hurricane or a disaster in the Cayman Islands as well. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about, because they on sale this month. Dial teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vant Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500, like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale. Only at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Rotaract Blue, in support of the Cayman Special Needs Community, present the 11th Annual Open Arms Gala, The Great Gatsby. Saturday, May 25th at Ristorante Papagayo. Cocktails begin at 6 p.m. 3-course dinner, award ceremony, silent auction at 7 p.m. Attire is Gatsby chic. Your ticket is only $100 per person. Your table only $1,500. Tickets available online at eventpro.ky or email president.rotaractblue@gmail.com. The Open Arms program promotes care, understanding, and non-discrimination for disabled persons. The Great Gatsby by Rotaract Blue. Inspiration to the next generation.
Money Sense, bringing an informed financial perspective to the Cayman community. Brought to you by the CFA Society Cayman Islands and sponsored by One Trade X. Join Money Sense Thursday at 7:30 a.m. and email your questions to moneysense at Candiwaki. That's money, SENSE at CANDW.KY. Money Sense, the only personal finance radio show in the Cayman Islands. Brought to you with the support of One Trade X.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore,
Pastor Garrett Haylock and the congregation of the Church of God Outbreakers on the Seaside would like to invite everyone to their revival services from Tuesday, May 21st to Saturday, May 25th at 7:30 p.m. and on Sunday, May 26th at 6:45 p.m. For transportation, please call 928-7377 or 916-1345. The Church of God Outbreakers on the Seaside, inspiring others to be what God wants them to be.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're discussing the recruitment fair that is being held at the UCCI on Thursday, the 16th of May, taking place between the hours of 10 to 3, mainly to accommodate students, and then from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. to accommodate those persons who are working as well. Represented around the table, we have the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service in the presence of Miss Stacy. Jodianne Powry. Also, we have Acting Inspector Roger Williams. We have Mr. Sean Vasquez, who is with the Department of Public Safety Communications. We have Mr. David Terry with the Cayman Islands Fire Service. And we have Mr. Keon, I got to make sure I pronounce that right, Mr. Keon Moore from Her Majesty's Prison Service as well. And before we wrap up with all of you, hurricane season is approaching us soon, and we're curious to know how the various departments will ramp up their activities, or do you have to ramp up your activities as a result of hurricane season, or are you just the way that you're organized and your organization is structured now is that if hurricane season was to come in January as opposed to June, would you still be ready for it? And that at the same time is also for those persons who are interested in joining any of these services to show you how you will be able to contribute to the safety and welfare of the people of the Cayman Islands as well. So who wants to start? Fire? I'll start with fire. I'm going to start with fire. And the reason I'm going to start with fire is because until a few years ago, the fire station was the command center for whenever there was a hurricane event. That is the command center. During Hurricane Ivan, I spent from Saturday afternoon until Tuesday afternoon, from Saturday to Tuesday at that location. So let's hear from fire.
I wasn't in the fire service during Hurricane Ivan. I was actually it was actually just before I started high school, but it was so interesting to hear a lot of the stories that the guys gave. You know, our thing at fire is to save lives and protect property. That is what two of our main initiatives, and one of the main things we're there from that standpoint. I'd say working extremely close collaboration with the RCIPS. We're there definitely to initiate and to do those things. As people may not know and may not be aware, the fire stations are actually hurricane shelters. And, we have a lot of people there if a hurricane is coming as well. What I can say also is that our fire prevention unit, they take part in doing annual inspections for, I would say, majority of the occupable buildings on the island. And that in itself is something that will help us be prepared, like you said, whether a hurricane is coming in, hit in January versus in June, and the good thing about that is that especially on the domestic side of the service, we get to work closely with them in doing those things besides our regular tasks as in terms of maintenance, if it's out, doing our regular hydrant checks, or it could be something as simple of points of egress, just in case of that type of disaster occurring, but otherwise than that, I like to think, and I like to say, we're already busy as it is. You made a comment earlier, joking about us playing dominoes. That definitely won't be anything that won't happen at all. If a hurricane was to come, maybe a few downs down the line, somebody might get a 6-love. But
okay. Prison, and anything different?
Maybe a little different. Part of our mantra is keeping those in care, who we have in custody. And from a security standpoint, I'm sure the public would be concerned if, those inside were to come out. So I wasn't there during Ivan, but my colleagues have all told me that it was all hands on deck. So we had officers there stationed for days on end, didn't go home. They slept there, they bathed there, they eat there, just to ensure that, one, the guys there were all comfortable, yes, but also that they were secure in our facility. So to my knowledge, no one escaped during Ivan. So I can say that, nothing is certain, but the public can be assured that we'll do everything in our power to keep everybody contained.
Public safety?
Well, unlike my two learned friends here, I was actually here for Ivan. So at that time, I was in the capacity of a police officer, so it was quite interesting. And needless to say, very rewarding at the same time, but humbling.
Yes.
But for our mandate as it comes to hurricanes affecting our islands, we are, for the Department of Public Safety Communications, we would still be that answer point for the community on a whole, notwithstanding the NEOC, the National Emergency Operations Center, being activated. We would still act as that resource deployment and supporting, along with assisting the NEOC. We have an amazing acting director right now, Ms. Nadine Messam Davis, who does an outstanding job in working with the NEOC hazard management. She has great experience and a great addition to our team as well. So we work in tangent, we work closely with them, and our primary role at that point, of course, would be to be able to take the public's calls and to ensure that the community on a whole is still being serviced. Along with that, we would we manage and we oversee the radio program for the entire government as well too. So those radios would need to be insured to make sure that they're up, they're serviced, and that they're functioning effectively during that hurricane.
Okay. RCIPS.
Yeah, well, I could just use one word and say we do everything. but jokes aside, we annually have our hurricane plan, which we start to review, and we start to make checks in terms of generators, making sure that our fleets of vehicles, what we have as assets, in the event there's a hurricane and we need to activate the hurricane plan. We review all the shelters, we review all the processes that we have in place. Obviously, if there's a hurricane, officers would naturally be deployed to the airport, naturally to the prison service, and also we would be a part of the NEOC, as my colleague mentioned, as part of the command structure for the Cayman Islands. So, preparedness is one of the crucial things as it relates to all of these agencies. I know upcoming in the future, one of the things that we want to build upon is the evacuation plans in the event. So a hurricane is something that we have pre-warning about, but in the event, let's say of an earthquake, buildings are destroyed, hotels are destroyed, what do we do? How do we evacuate those who need evacuating, and how do we do search and rescue? And that's one of the things that we're looking forward to in the coming months and weeks.
Okay, Ms. Jody, this one is probably going to be for you. It says, hi, good morning. I'm listening to the discussion this morning about the job fair, and I just want to know, if they are having a job fair, why aren't the jobs on the government website? And this job fair has been going on for years now, and you go and you do all of the required steps and apply, and you don't hear back. And this is really discouraging. So I just want to know their thoughts on this. So the person is saying you have the job fairs. Why aren't the jobs advertised? I'm not sure that they're correct in saying that they're not, because I believe that every entity has their own way of advertising, right. So you wouldn't put it out there. But the question is that they never get, if they don't get a reply when they go to the job fair, submit applications, and don't get a reply.
Right. Well, I can say that speaking on behalf of the RCIPS, we advertise on the government website, and also we advertise our vacancies on the RCIPS website. For police officers, we have a open recruitment, and what that means is that we accept applications year-round. Everyone who gets an application will receive a letter from HR to say that their application was received, and that they will be contacted if they're shortlisted. If you haven't gotten any communication, I just implore people to contact the various departments that you have submitted application to, whether it be police, fire, or 911. I'm sorry, I cannot remember the other one.
Public safety.
Contact the various departments. Be active in your role in searching and seeking for a job, because this is your livelihood. When I applied to become a police officer, I applied in 2007 right out of school, and I didn't get a call back until August 2009.
Wow.
To start in September 2009. But during that time, I was very aggressive. I called, I went in, I checked on the application. I spoke with different people who I knew were police officers, and I was like, when is recruitment again? I went in, I checked, is my application expired? Do I need to update my resume? You have to do these things in order to gain employment, because this is your life and your livelihood that you're, and your family that is benefiting.
Okay, very quickly, while you still have the mic, and after that, I'm going to go around the table and in one word, give you enough time to think about it, in one word, tell us why it is attractive, why should a potential applicant join your particular service. Just repeat the job fair, the date, the time, and the venue for our audience,
so
please.
The job fair will be taking place at the Sir Vassal Johnson Hall at the UCCI campus. It'll take place between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. and that time is being used mostly for school children. We have an organized group and times and so forth for those children. And then we also have facilitating for adults between 4 and 7 p.m. that same evening. There will be persons there from various departments in each organization, and you'll be able to have one-on-one conversations with them. We'll also have demonstrations from each department, and I dare say that usually it's kind of like a little competition to see which one's better. So come out and see that as well. Work will also be there, and work is going to be playing an integral part of the fair as well, because they'll be doing little seminars on resume writing, on interview skills, on social media in the workplace. And these things are important for people to know early out so that they can make sure that they have a good digital footprint. And also we'll have equipment out there. You'll get to check out our equipment. I know the fire truck is going to be there. And definitely we'll be having a few things. Our drone will be there and so on. So definitely I do encourage everyone to come out, show your support to the fair, as well as come and learn about our different departments and see what is there for you.
Okay, one word why I should join the fire service.
Diversity.
One word for Her Majesty's Prison.
Impact.
One word for public safety communications.
Job satisfaction.
One word for Royal Cayman Islands Police Service.
Community.
Folks, I want to thank Ms. Jodianne.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about the police service as well.
Service.
And communications part of it as well. Public
Yes.
communications, even more so.
Definitely to serve.
Yeah.
Service.
Okay.
For the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Wossi.
Go right ahead, Mr. Terry.
Steal some of your time quickly.
Sure.
I want to send a very, very special shout out on today. For today. Today is my sister's birthday, Gabriela Terry, aka Han Han. She's 27. Just want to send out a shout out. Wish you a very, very awesome day. Love you very much. People listening that know you as well. just sending some love your way. Hope you have an awesome day.
Great. Happy birthday, Gabrielle. I want to thank all of you around the table for being here, those who had to leave us a little bit early as well. I want to thank our listening audience for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Rotaract Blue, in support of the Cayman Special Needs Community, present the 11th Annual Open Arms Gala, The Great Gatsby. Saturday, May 25th at Ristorante Papagayo. Cocktails begin at 6 p.m. 3-course dinner, award ceremony, silent auction at 7 p.m. Attire is Gatsby chic. Your ticket is only $100 per person. Your table only $1,500. Tickets available online at eventpro.ky or email president.rotaractblue@gmail.com. The Open Arms Program promotes care, understanding, and non-discrimination for disabled persons. The Great Gatsby by Rotaract Blue. Inspiration to the next generation.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.
Oh, Cayman moon.
The voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
Shining down from above.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.